Yeah.
I thought the intuition is connected to the soul. So if that is connected, how can there be bad intuition?
Oh yeah. Aditi's asking if intuition is just supersoul guidance, how could it be bad? Then it's not really intuition. It's a feeling that's generated from something that's not directly, well, okay. It can be guided by the supersoul, but according to your desire, he can be giving you guidance that will misguide you, or maybe you have improper information, so therefore your emotional response will be guided by what you know. That's possible. Or you may be out of touch with your real intuition. Maybe you think it's intuition. Maybe you're sentimental. Maybe it's not based on knowledge. You know, it's a problem because sometimes we feel something and we go, I know this is true. And many people left Krishna consciousness because they were feeling strongly that it's wrong. And they could say, I had strong intuition. But I would say they probably needed an excuse to leave. So Krishna gave it through some kind of intuition. A thief has intuition, which is the best house to steal from. Yes.
And sometimes super soul can guide you by intuition, and then fears and will give you a second gut feeling.
Yeah.
And you take that as your intuition. But the first flicker, straight away, you then have your intuition that you see like a guidance to not follow the first thing. And that's based on sentimentalism or...
Could be, and it also could be based on experience. But the point is, sometimes you can trust your intuition, sometimes you can't. But sometimes it's very strong. And sometimes we're very stupid also. And very stupid and very strong intuition can be troublesome. Just like in ISKCON, we educate devotees to know what is a guru. And what does it mean to have a relationship with a guru? What does it mean to surrender to a guru? Otherwise, if the guru walks nicely, tells some good stories, sings nicely, then you may think he's my guru. In the first, 30 seconds, you see him. Funniest thing to me is sometimes people ask another person how they can know who is a guru. So the person they're asking is actually their guru at that point. And sometimes they're asking the person who's their guru who their guru is, and they don't know it. It's interesting. Am I confusing you? So the point of this class was to know how to use emotion in Krishna consciousness. Here's an interesting phenomenon. A woman writes me. This happens 2 to 3 times a month. A woman writes me, I'm having trouble with my marriage. I say, well, let me talk to your husband. She'll say, okay, I'll ask him. She writes back. What do you think she says when she writes back? He doesn't want to talk about it. Why doesn't he want to talk about it? Because he doesn't want to feel it. because it makes him feel like he's failing in his marriage. He doesn't want to get in touch with what he's feeling. It's hard to talk about it. Ladies, what do you think? If a man says he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't want to confront what he's feeling. Yes? No? You agree? Yeah. Or maybe you don't want to confront what you're feeling. Yeah. So that means some people have learned not to feel. And anytime they're confronted about feeling, they don't want to talk about it. And many people come to our movement who have been brought up in a family where if you express feeling, they smash you. And then you don't know how to express feeling because you always got chastised if you expressed it. Anyone relate to that? Yeah. In the early days of our movement, you might go to a temple president and say, I don't feel like going on Sankirtan. And he might say, who cares how you feel? It's like, feeling is just complete Maya. Who cares how you feel? We're not about feeling. So, if I'm talking to you about a problem, and I isolate the problem, and the problem is really difficult for you, you might say, can we talk about something else? Anyone have that experience? Can we talk about something else? To go with those feelings are uncomfortable. I'm not used to dealing with my feelings. And that's why I asked you the question, what are you feeling right now? What am I feeling? Happy, sad, scared, compassion, love, fear. And then if we're afraid to be in touch with our feeling, it's awkward because bhakti is supposed to express feeling to Krishna. Right? Prabhupada says in a lecture on Queen Kunti, it all depends on feeling. This morning's class, Bhaktivedya Purnaswami said, it all depends on your attitude. Not what you do, but the attitude you do it with. So in Krishna consciousness, we want to be able to express feelings in a way that brings us closer to Krishna. And then control those feelings which take us away from Krishna. Now, let's say I have a problem and I don't want to feel it. What's happening is I'm pretending I don't have the problem. Because if I can't feel it, if I numb it, then I don't perceive it. If I don't perceive it, then I think I don't have it. And if I think I don't have it, then I can't fix it. So you have to be able to recognize it. What are you feeling? Here's a funny one. Somebody's angry. And you say, why are you angry? And what do they say? I'm not angry. Why are you upset? I'm not upset. Let's talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. That's an example of someone who doesn't know how to deal with their feelings. So, in devotional service, we want to be able to express feelings towards devotees, right? Affection. That's very important. We want to be able to express feelings of devotion towards our Guru, towards Krishna, through whatever means we want to express those feelings. Cooking, writing, singing, dancing, art, managing. How do you feel when you do something you like? Ecstatic, blissful, happy. Isn't that helpful for your bhakti to feel that way? Someone might think, I shouldn't feel happy in Krishna consciousness. That's not good. That's sense gratification. I don't know if I told you, but one of our temples in America, we had a festival. And then Prabhupada said, when he got the report about the festival, then he said, I hope you enjoyed the festival. Are we supposed to enjoy? That's a dirty word in ISKCON, right? I enjoyed that. How was the class? I enjoyed it. We're not supposed to enjoy. So what did Prabhupada mean by, I hope you enjoyed it? Yes, in Krishna consciousness, you should enjoy it. In the mood of servant. So enjoyment, love, affection, emotion, employed in Krishna service. It's all good. Yes?
If somebody is going to Vrindavan, I had that recently, somebody told me, I'm going to Vrindavan and I hope I can enjoy it. And I told him, Vrindavan is not really the place where you should enjoy. It was a young bhakta actually. Was that right?
We understand what Prabhupada meant. It may be wrong for him, but But this devotee who was talking to me said that her devotional life had been stifled because she was told to not express her emotions. And she just clammed up. So there's a balance between controlling emotions and expressing emotions. Okay, so I have a question for you. What are you feeling right now? Are you feeling anything? Do you know what you're feeling? Raise your hand if you know what you're feeling. Raise your hand if you're not sure what you're feeling. I'm too afraid to raise my hand to tell you that I don't know what I'm feeling. I think some devotees are afraid to feel because they feel that if they feel, it'll be Maya. Or it'll be sentimental or something. Have any of you ever heard this lecture? It was on Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance day. And Prabhupada was thanking his disciples. You ever heard that lecture? And he started crying, he broke down. He said, "Oh, thank you because you're helping me fulfill the order of my spiritual master." And then he just choked. Prabhupada expressed lots of appreciation for his disciples. So Prabhupada was not one who didn't express emotion. He expressed lots of emotion in his kirtans and bhajans. Yes? Can you feel it? Yeah. Anyone have any questions, comments?
I have to share something. Giraj Maharaj wrote to me a couple of days ago. He said, just after Srila Prabhupada left, one devotee called Mahaprabhu Das came to Juhu, and he was looking at a picture. After a while, he's showing some videos of Srila Prabhupada, and Giraj Maharaj said to him, Srila Prabhupada, like he's never met someone with so much love and detachment in Srila Prabhupada.
Both.
And, yeah.
That's an interesting combination. Love and detachment. Okay, you reminded me of something. One second. I have a sad story to tell you. And this will kind of reveal the problem that I've been addressing. I don't know if any of you have this experience, but when you first become a devotee, did any of you feel disoriented? Like you weren't actually sure what to do and what to feel and what was right and wrong? And is it okay to go to the toilet now, or don't do that till the afternoon? Yeah, there's some disorientation. It's a different culture, we're not sure exactly if everything's okay. So in that environment, for many devotees, because they weren't sure how to act properly in every situation, they weren't sure how to feel in every situation. So they didn't know how to feel. They didn't know if it's okay to feel like this. Anyone had that experience? Is it all right to feel this way? So when Prabhupada left, I was in charge of a Sankirtan party. I think there were maybe 5 or 6 devotees. So I got the phone call, and then I got the phone call in the evening, and I think the next morning, I didn't want to tell them in the evening. So I think the next morning I told them that, we all knew that probably it was going to happen today or tomorrow or next week. So I told them that Prabhupada just left, and what do you think they said? Take a guess. It's about feeling. What do you think they said? It had to do with how they should feel. What do you think the question was?
Should we cry?
Close. Very close. How should we feel? They asked, how should we feel? And I think that exemplifies the problem, at least in our movement in those days, that we were trained in a way to not even be able to feel without asking someone else, is it okay if I feel like this? I think that's a definition of a cult. That wasn't that we were trying to make devotees feel that way, but because of our immaturity, we didn't know how to feel. We'd have to ask somebody, how should I feel? It's like I joke. I ask you, how do you feel? And you ask me, how should I feel? How do you feel, Sharanaki? Maharaj, I'm sitting in your divine presence. How should I feel? So they asked that question, and it's very depressing that they had to ask that. It means we had learned how to disconnect from our feelings, and we even had to ask how we should feel when our spiritual master left. That's kind of pathetic, isn't it? So we don't want to be in that situation where we're not allowing ourselves to feel. Anyway, Prabhupada told us that we should cry. It's okay to cry. You should cry. It's natural. Yes?
Sometimes we need to have a little bit of a thick skin so that we don't get disturbed by every little thing that happens.
Yeah. I think you need. I think we need two shirts, one thick and one thin, and then we take them on and off as needed. Yes.
I always heard that thinking, feeling, and willing is a function of the mind.
Yeah.
So usually, the mind is our enemy. So if you just
No, then feeling is the enemy because the mind is the enemy. Yeah.
so you can have some negative feelings.
Yeah. Mind is the enemy, the mind is the friend. Feeling is the enemy and feeling is the friend, depending on what you're feeling and depending on what you're thinking. That's a problem, to think it's all the enemy, because then you'll turn feeling off. Now, for example, you might do something wrong, and then you feel guilty. If you've ever done something wrong, you'll feel guilty. You lie to your mother because you want to stay out late, and you make up a story, and then you feel guilty later. I just read the statistics. I'm not saying you do this, but the statistics are in that 1 out of 5 things teenagers tell their parents is a lie. At least 20% of what they say, they're lying. Interesting. So, you tell a lie and then you feel guilty. Right? Now let's say you suppress the guilt. You just say, my feelings are all bad, I shouldn't feel guilty. Right? Then let's say you do some more things that are wrong and you think, feelings are bad, I shouldn't feel guilty. What's that going to do? It's going to enable you to do so many bad things because you've turned your guilt up. So if you feel guilty, you'll probably stop doing them. So the feeling is actually good because it's bringing you away from doing the wrong thing. So feelings, they also guide us. And the bad feelings are there to guide us to stop doing the things that cause the bad feelings. If you do good things, you'll feel good about yourself. If you do bad things, you'll feel bad about yourself. So if you allow yourself to feel the bad feelings, they'll tend to push you to do something better. And if you... Okay, now let's take another example. Let's say you become jealous of another person. That person has achieved something that you wanted to achieve, but they did better. So now you're jealous. That's definitely a feeling, right? And we know jealousy is bad, right? So because you're jealous, just like you're saying, if there's something bad in the mind, I try not to think of it. So if I'm jealous, I'll try not to feel it. But look at it this way. Jealousy is a very uncomfortable feeling, isn't it? It's like, but I may be jealous of this devotee. But if I don't allow myself to feel it, I can keep being jealous and not let the jealousy bother me. But if I let it bother me, it's going to be hard to continue being jealous because it's going to make me feel bad. If I allow myself to feel my jealousy, and I say, Mahatma, confront this reality. You're jealous of this devotee. Allow yourself, how does that make you feel? Like, if you were jealous and I was your father, I could say, okay, how does that jealousy make you feel? And you just look down and say, it doesn't make me feel good. I say, okay, I want you to feel how bad it makes you feel. I want you to feel so bad that you'll never be jealous again. So by allowing yourself to not suppress the emotion, but feel it, it will start to push you away from being jealous because it's such a bad feeling, and you don't want to have that feeling. So, Krishna created us with feelings, so there must be a reason they're there. So, one second. So the bad feelings, if you manage them properly, can push you away from continuing to do that because you experience it so clearly. In our forgiveness workshop, we do 3 exercises, 2 or 3 exercises, where we ask the devotees to feel how their resentment feels. And then, after I ask them to feel how their resentment feels, I ask them, did you realize it felt this bad? And most people will say, no, I didn't realize how bad it felt. And so, the reason I wanted them to feel it, it was so that they would detach from it, to realize that I'm carrying around this horrible feeling. If every time you become jealous or envious or greedy or lusty or anything, and you really allow yourself to feel how bad it makes you feel, you'll naturally detach because you don't like pain. You don't like to feel bad. The only other way you're going to deal with it is suppress it. I don't want to feel it, and it's not there. I'm not jealous. No, not at all. I don't feel jealousy at all. Because you suppressed it, because you don't want to feel it because it's a bad feeling. And you want to feel like you're a good devotee. So you're not going to admit that you're jealous because good devotees aren't jealous. And since I'm a good devotee, I couldn't be jealous, even though I am, but I don't admit it. So now I can't deal with it. Now I'm pretending not to be jealous. So again, I've detached from my emotion. And I'm walking around pretending that it's not there, and it's playing out all the time. Because every time I see that devotee, I just walk the other way. I don't want to see her face because it bothers me. Does that make sense? Okay. Did that make sense to everybody else? Raise your hand if it didn't make sense, and I can explain it. Yeah. Your emotions, okay. Patanjali explained, attachment comes from remembering the pleasure you got from something. That's why we're attached to something. Have you ever done something or been attached to something that had caused you pain in the past? Of course. And then we tell ourselves, I'm never going to do that again. But there was pleasure in it, and that's why we're still attached to it. And we remember the pleasure. Anytime you remember pleasure, you're attached. If you remember the pain, you'll detach. Think of something you're detached from that you'll never do again. Why? It was so painful, so distasteful, you'll never do it again. So if you associate pain or experience pain enough, you'll never do that again. Right? Like, we couldn't get you to eat meat. That thought of eating meat is so painful, so distasteful, we couldn't do it. Right? So, if I have an emotion, like envy, let's say, and rather than think, well, I shouldn't be envious, so I'm just going to suppress it, I actually feel it, it'll be so painful, I'll start to detach from it. Because we detach from what is painful. And if I suppress it, I won't experience the pain, and then I may not detach from it. You understand? Pain, detachment. You stub your toe. It's bleeding, but you have a body that doesn't feel pain. You don't do anything. Your toe gets infected. Your toe gets amputated. You didn't feel any pain. You didn't do anything. As soon as you feel pain, you take care of your toe. And you're much more careful. If you've ever fallen down a stairway, I bet you're extremely careful when you walk up and down stairways. If you forget that you've fallen down a stairway, then you won't be so careful. So, if I have a bad experience, and I allow myself to feel that bad experience, it will detach me from doing it. So that way, negative emotions, when you feel them, they can detach you. Let's turn it around. So you're jealous of this devotee, and I say, I want you to appreciate that devotee. And you say, I can't appreciate that devotee, I don't even like him. I go, no, you have to appreciate them. You have to find something to appreciate, and I force you. And you do it, and you finally appreciate them. How will you feel? You'll feel good. Now we've instilled a samskar in you, that appreciation feels good and jealousy feels bad. You're more inclined to appreciate. But if you deny that you're jealous, or you deny, you don't allow yourself to feel the jealousy, you'll probably continue to be jealous. That's the problem with not allowing ourselves to experience the negative emotions. We're not telling you to act on them, we're telling you to feel them, what it feels like. There's a difference. So your fear was you would act on it, so you don't want to feel it. But then you deprive yourself of the benefit you can get by experiencing it. Not impelled to act on it, but experience what it feels like to have it, which is different, right? What does it feel like to have jealousy? It's different than being jealous. It's the experience of jealousy, not the act of jealousy. See the difference? Does everyone see the difference? The act of jealousy and the experience of having jealousy are two different things. So you can all try this. With any negative emotion you have, allow yourself to feel it, to experience it, not act on it, but see how it makes you feel. When the wife says, let's talk, and the man says, there's nothing to talk about, that means something's going on he doesn't want to deal with. And when he doesn't deal with it, the problem remains. And someday, it'll get so bad he'll say, let's talk, because he wants to relieve it. Yes?
In that situation, then it's helpful for the wife to be able to disconnect from her feelings, because anyways, it's not going to be resolved. And she's just going to feel
In that situation,
yeah.
if she can. Or accept her feelings and realize there's nothing she can do. All right, so
And just be miserable.
yeah, maybe be accepting. That's better than miserable. Yeah. She's going to have to find, she'll Yeah, she'll just accept that's what he's like. He doesn't want to talk. So I was hoping our marriage will be up here, but it's probably going to be here, and until he wants to, make it better, that's just how it is. Look at a Vyas Puja offering. What's in a Vyas Puja offering? Pure emotion, isn't it? It's all emotion. That's where you really see bhakti come out, emotion. Right? So we need to express emotion. So maybe it's not with your husband, maybe it's with the god sister, with your guru, with somebody. But you have to express it somewhere. Right? My wife was telling me something very interesting. She said, it's not always that people need love, but they need connection. So you could be connected with somebody, but there's not intense affection, but there's connection. Like you work well together. You like being together, but the affection may not be intense. So sometimes people are happy just being connected. So you can be happy being connected. Yes?
I noticed that sometimes you can be almost like addicted to like a negative feeling, like sadness. Like I guess you just relate it. That's just me. Or also it's just like, this is something, I feel something, right? So just kind of like your mind feels like, this is, something's going on there. At least, I guess.
He's saying sometimes, I guess what you're saying is if you, instead of feeling numb, better to feel sad than nothing. So you feel anger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we have to understand, below the sadness, below the anger, below the depression, there's something triggering it. And so, if someone says, I'm connected with my emotions, and I say, what are you feeling? And they say, I'm feeling angry. I'll say, you're not connected with your emotion, because there's something causing the anger below that. So if you can connect on that level, you can actually help yourself. Do all of you know that? If you're angry, that's not what you're feeling. There's something that caused the anger. If you're sad, there's something that's causing it. So when we say being connected with your emotion, that's what it means. And the point is, if you know what it is, you can do something about it. Why are you sad? I don't know I'm sad. That's a disconnect. If you know, you can do something. Yes.
Ну, спасибо за сегодняшнюю лекцию. Я чувствую, что во мне это много отражается, то, что он говорит. И я чувствую, что тоже закрыт от эмоций, потому что в сознании Кришны ты боялся и получил установки, что проявлять эмоции.
Say that again.
I'm also feeling that I'm closed from my emotions because of Krishna consciousness. You're not allowed or afraid to express them.
Yeah. So you become afraid of your emotion? Is that what he said?
Боишься эмоций, и от этого ты чувствуешь, что твоя жизнь, она пустая и, такое депрессивное состояние.
And because of this lack of emotions, you feel like your life is empty.
Yeah.
And there's an even depression.
Yeah. Well,
И в то же время я не знаю, как это все делать. Мне нужен какой-то поводырь, который научит это все правильно делать. Ты даже не знаешь, как с этой ситуацией выйти.
And same time you don't know. There has to be some guidance, otherwise you don't know how to actually deal with this situation.
your emotions should be engaged in Krishna's service. That's the point. So, let's say you're angry. Things are getting stolen in Mayapur. It makes you angry. There's trash on the street. It makes you angry. The prasadam wasn't served properly. It makes you angry. You take that anger and you decide, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to gather a team of devotees. We're going to clean everything. Whenever it's time to serve prasadam, that team's going to help. So then you use your anger positively. I have affection for children. I will do something with children. I love sports. I'll teach the kids sports. Whatever. So, you express your emotion. Then you'll be happy. And then you'll be normal. Because you can't not express it. It just has to be expressed in the right way.
Но есть страх.
There's fear.
Чувствую страх.
Fear of what?
Страх чего?
Ну вот проявлять эмоции.
Fear of expression.
Что правильно?
Is it
Правильно.
proper? Is it being proper?
What proper and improper?
Что правильно и неправильно?
Ну, например, когда ты чувствуешь, что у тебя есть гнев по отношению к каким-то неправильным вещам.
For example, you feel anger towards some improper.
И
If you know how to, use it, so that the anger has a positive effect. It's just, anger is just energy. So if you use that anger, that energy properly. Do you realize that a lot of workshops I do are partially motivated by anger? Do you realize that this workshop is partially motivated by anger? Because I'm angry that when devotees turn their emotions off, it makes me angry because I feel like we're damaging devotees. So part of the motivation of teaching this is anger. It just doesn't come out yelling and screaming. But there is anger. I'm angry, devotees don't chant japa well, therefore we do japa retreats. It's partially motivated by anger. I'm angry that devotees believe in karma and they still hold on to resentment. That's a paradox. So I teach a workshop on forgiveness. I'm angry that devotees aren't following their vows. I teach a workshop on vows. I'm angry that our marriages are not going well. I teach a workshop on marriage. I'm angry devotees' relationships aren't as good as they should be. I teach a workshop on relationships. Every workshop I teach has some motivation of anger behind it. It's just a different form of anger. Or frustration, or both. So then I employ my emotion in a positive way. And when you sit in the workshop, you don't think I'm frustrated, you don't think I'm angry, but it was generated partially from those emotions.
I thought it's motivated to help us.
That's there also. It's a synergy. And we all feel this way. We all see things in ISKCON that anger us, isn't it? And if we do something about it, then we're employing our anger, our frustration. I feel I feel guilty that I don't chant good rounds. So what do? I chant good rounds. My motive is guilt, and the guilt makes me chant better. I feel guilty, I'm not a good husband. It makes me a better husband. So the emotion can go this way or it can go this way. Depends how you use it. I feel guilty, I'm a bad husband, so I divorce my wife. Then it goes down. I feel guilty, I chant bad rounds, I'll just stop chanting. So it depends how you use your emotions. Right? Does it make sense?
Я думаю, надо учиться.
Yeah.
Sometimes when these things, feelings come out, like a nice feeling or whatever, like I've even noticed this over my life. Sometimes even you just feel happy and people attack you.
Devotees or
Well,
non-devotees?
I mean, it's not necessarily, it's probably like they're in her Hiranyakashi poo or something like that. But it's just like, sometimes it's hard to know how to react because now you're trying to
Oh yeah.
get over these things. Like, wasn't such a bad example, but it is an example. Like, for the Advaita Charya, they were throwing flowers around, and I just felt really good. So I wanted to go around and pick up flower petals and throw them at people. What's wrong with that, right? I guess because I'm a full-grown man, and I shouldn't do things like that. So somebody said, don't do that.
Uh-huh.
So, but sometimes you just feel like saying, like, shut up and get away from me, right? Like, so, but how do you deal with these things? I don't know. Maybe was it proper that I did that with the kids? I don't know.
Well, Pankajanga Gunjana is part of it. So,
They what? They're throwing flowers.
for flowers.
How do you deal with devotees who are trying to rain on your parade? That's the question?
Sometimes it's devotees, but even happened before outside. It's worse outside.
Yeah.
Devotees are better.
You just say, Prabhu, control the Hiranyakashipu in you. Solve that problem. I can tell you what I do. I try to understand two things. If what I'm doing is correct or not correct. And if I understand it's correct, then first thing is, all right, I haven't done anything wrong. And the second thing is it bothering somebody? So maybe what I'm doing is not wrong, but it's bothering somebody. So do I want to continue bothering them? Or is the benefit from it, if it's just a few people, and say, well, everyone else is appreciating, and so I won't let a few people disturb me. But if then I consider, well, is this bothering a lot of people? Then it may not be wrong, but it's wrong in the sense that it's bothering a lot of people. So then I would get happy doing something else that doesn't bother people. Okay, it's late. If we don't stop now, we may never finish. So we'll have class tomorrow, 2:45, in the park. If you want to come, we're talking about the stage of bhava. What happens when you come to the stage of bhava? How happy you'll be. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Mahaprabhu ki